Hey guys, how's it going? I just wanted to touch base again about being a stepmom and kind of talk about some bases that are super necessary and kind of like outline what the rules are. Kind of like when you sit down to play Monopoly, you know what the rules are, right? So, I would say rule number one of jumping into the title of a stepmom is no matter what, regardless of your opinion, your behavior should always show that you're respecting the mom. Now I know there's several people that have experienced maybe being a stepmom and the biological mom isn't actually somebody they feel that they can respect or admire or be friends with or whatever. But you have to set your likes aside, and I'm not asking you to interview the person to be your friend. I'm not asking you to think, does this person deserve to have a child? I'm not asking you if you think you're a better mother. She had the child, not you. And you definitely have to respect that place because, oh my god, what's going on? Alright, truth is I woke up and my hair was like this. It's crazy. So, you have to respect who she is. You have to respect who she is in their life. Not for you, not for her, not for him, but for the kids. Because she is their world. And you have to respect that place. So, when it comes to things of, let's just say school events, I'm actually going through it right now. I was asked by the kids, so I've got two, and youngest one is 7, and the other one's 10. And 10-year-old asked me if I can go to her field trip at school. Now I know I could totally be like, yeah, I'll go. Not discuss it with dad, not discuss it with mom, and I could totally be undermining it. And I said, well, I think mom always goes to these, so let's see if mom's planning on going. Would you like us both to come? Or do you just want one of us to come? Are you just asking that you have a parent there? And she said, no, I just care to have one parent there. And I said, okay. I said, well, let's see what mom's plans are. So, as many of you think, oh, I can't, there's no way in hell I could shoot his ex-wife a text. There's no way in hell I can, we don't talk. You could, whatever excuse you want to come up with, okay? Because how you communicate and who you are is not dependent upon who she is and how she communicates. So, we typically let things play out. In the beginning, I probably would have shot her a text, but I'm 4 years into this relationship where I know by the time that date comes up, she typically will be like, hey, mom's coming, and she's super excited. So, on that note, I can really just kind of go with that and say, okay, and I go from there. But we've already developed our pattern, and I know what her norm is, and she knows what my norm is. If her mom wasn't going, I simply would have shot her a text and said, hey, she wants to make sure one of us is there, and I'm free. Would it bother you at all that I went? And I'm telling you this, if you set the tone that you're putting her kids first, her kids' needs first, it's really hard to disrespect that, and it's really hard to call you a bitch after that. Just throwing it out there. For a lot of people, this might be too much of their ego that they're putting forward, which is okay, and that's fine, but you shouldn't be a step-parent. You have to be willing to make that step, because as the parent, I've even received a phone call from her apologizing to my boyfriend, her ex-husband, and said, I've started to feel jealous, and I don't mean to. I know it doesn't mean that, but I just want to make sure we're on the same level of like being peaceful with the kids if they do call her mom, which is me, Ashley. So, aside from that, sorry, I lost track of exactly where I was. So, I think just setting some boundaries, and setting up, like, if you need to call her and be like, look, let's have coffee and like, let's talk. I'm sorry, but text messaging doesn't really fix things. It helps create things that aren't really there. Because the fact is, you really don't know her, and she doesn't know you. And the last thing you probably want to do is get to know each other. Because that's not awkward, right? But I want to encourage all you stepmoms. I don't care if mom's like there 25% of the time. I don't agree and think she's like 100% there like she could be. But then that's my opinion. And it doesn't change the fact that the kids love her. And we are currently in a 50-50 custody. And I feel like that's a cupcake life to a custody situation. So I am very aware of that. So I'm trying to speak to everybody that comes from all areas of, like, maybe mom has 25% custody, dad has more custody. What I will say, I have seen some videos, and I kind of looked it over because I want to like be able to give the feedback and know what's being said to stepmoms. Like, hey, yeah, your dude should fight for full custody. Yeah. How would you feel if one of your parents was ripped out of your lives completely? Okay? It doesn't matter if she's broke. It doesn't matter if she's a whore. I hate to say it. I mean, as long as that stuff's not around the kids, it's none of your business. It doesn't matter what she does that you don't like. If there's not drugs around the kids, if there's not inappropriate behavior around the kids, towards the kids, if that stuff doesn't exist, like, you can't take their mom away. And trust me, if you do, that kid will remember. And that doesn't bring you closer to the kid. That doesn't leave you as their only option to love you because you are the only mom around. It just leaves them pissed off. And if you actually care about the kid, that isn't your goal. I have gone to the degree of communicating with her because there's conflict between my boyfriend and her, and maybe situations she doesn't understand where he's coming from, and she's like, no, I'm digging my heels in here, and he's like, well, I don't agree with that. I'll message her and say, look, the goal is for you guys to communicate, and I've encouraged him to communicate, and if you want him to not communicate, he can not tell you, hey, I didn't like this or this or this that happened with the kids. And he is a dad. He's 150% there. And don't forget, you guys are supposed to, like, we're doing this for the kids. Like, he's not arguing with you for the sake of arguing. Like, that was done in your marriage years, you know? It's not like this shit's fun. So, it's been able to, like, backtrack. And, you know, even on my end, there's been times I've had to say, you know what, I'm sorry. I feel like I maybe overstepped. There's been times that she's actually reached out and said, I'm sorry. Granted, that's not every situation, and I know that. But it's so important to know. For me, I like to know what drives people, what motivates people. And if you can't at least respect her position in their life, you shouldn't be in their life. I hope this speaks to maybe some of you out there that maybe that emotion does take over. Oh, trust me, I've been pissed. And I'm like, between him and I can say whatever name in the book, and that's between him and I. But it just still, no matter how I feel, it doesn't change who she is in their life. And it doesn't change who I am in their life. So on that note, do I want them to see me disrespecting her? they're going to feel torn. They're going to feel hurt. It's not fair. So think about it. If you have any questions, if you have a situation, maybe I didn't really touch to it, or you feel like this didn't speak to you, comment, and I can do another video trying to help with that situation, because trust me, you might ask the question and it might not work for you, but it might answer something for someone else. And my goal is to change kids' lives, because it's okay to have more than two parents love them. It's even better for them when they have that many people in their life. Why? You'll always know, and they always have somebody to go to. You always know what's going on, especially when they're teenagers and bad shit's around them. You want them making the right choices. So, subscribe, please. This is very weird for me to put my world out to the public, but something inside me was like, hey, you should probably talk about this. So I am. So subscribe, even though it terrifies me. Bye.